Hello, students. This is Steve Cramer, Business Research Librarian for the Bryan School, including for Marketing 309. And yesterday, I spent the morning with the two online on-campus sections of Dr. Clift regarding how to do secondary background research for your projects, specifically looking at industry analysis, marketing research, and also local data analysis and local data collection. I'm going to try to do a 7-minute or less or shorter video summary of that search process with you all today for the online sections. And we'll see how well I do with time. My first video was 19 minutes long, and it's a good video, but it's too long. So here we go, stage two. All right, let me share screen and show you my research guide, which I use to give you links and other resources, videos and things that will hopefully help you. All right, so here it is, the URL. You can maybe see this, and there should be a link to this in Canvas, by the way. untg.libguides.com, libguides.com/marketing, sorry, MKT309. And notice on this page, I have my first page is the topic, so I'm going to focus on this today. Briefly on the welcome page, if I can support you, I've already heard from a lot of Marketing 309 students this semester, and I always enjoy that. You can email me, you can chat with me, you can schedule a meeting with me face-to-face or through Teams. You get a choice here as you go through this, or virtual or libraries, and you add yourself to my calendar because it has active access to my current calendar settings. So let me know if I can support you. Otherwise, we're going to focus today on the topics page where I have one big box for all the teams to consider using because they have information for every single unit, both sustainable transportation, small business innovation, and telehealth. But also, as you can see here, 3 columns for each of your 3 different topics too, with more socialized suggestions and some screenshots I added that give you a sense of the value of some of these products that we pay for. To that note, I'm going to, again, trying to do this fairly quickly, illustrate examples from IBIS for industry analysis, Mintel for market research, and then data collection using something analytics and maybe Census website as well. So there is a company called IBIS World. They're in New York City. They exist to sell research. They are basically an innovation property company. They sell intellectual property to corporations and also to libraries for their students to use. These reports, if you had to buy them with credit card, would cost you $1,000 each. We have 1,500 reports available in our system, but we pay for this for you to use for free. So they're free to you. You have free access to corporate, professional level, professional grade research tools, business intelligence, we call it in the real world, outside academia. And so here you go. So for example, public transportation is covered as an industry. Every report, there's also reports in here for coffee. That's been my example I'm going to use for small business innovation. A lot of students are doing coffee shops for this class. And also telehealth too. For each report, you have the same table of contents. And I won't read all this to you in the interest of saving time, but it talks about the core trends in the industry, best practices, core customers, the value chain, supply chain. So your stakeholder information is in here. For each of these topics, I recommend basically that you come in and find a good report, and all 3 of you should have one for each. For any topic you pick, click on the download button here in the top right, and you can download the full report. And use this as your leisure. Save it someplace for your team and look at it as you go along. In addition to public transportation, you can type in the industry of telehealth. There it is. And again, students are doing different topics for the small business innovation, but many of them are doing coffee shops. That's in here too. So IBIS World, foundational information about how your industry works, how it's and where it's going, right? Outlook is in here too. You need that context as you analyze the situation before you start getting into suggesting solutions to the innovation or innovations for your topic. Statista also does industry analysis. Not going to show you that today to save time, but that's another option for industry research. Right, then next is Mintel. Mintel is like IBIS, except Mintel does marketing, not industries. It's based in Chicago. It is like IBIS in that it's primarily a company that sells research to corporations. These reports, you can see just the 4 newest ones here right across the top, cost, by the way, $4,000 each with a credit card. But you have free access through the library because we get this with academic discount. And this is another example of you having access to professional grade tools. These are not student tools. These are professional grade business research tools that corporations use. And we have access to. I mean, you are using them as students, of course, but they're primarily intended for corporations. So this is good stuff. That's the main point there. All right, you can both do a closed AI search. I may show that if I feel like I have time, but also just a general keyword search. And for example, I'm going to type in coffee and get to the report on coffee food service, meaning coffee shops, coffee, retailing. There's also reports about coffee as a product you can buy in stores to bring home with you. And like IBIS, table of contents over here on the left side, but different topics, right? This is consumer research. It's not industry research. Those are different things, even though they overlap sometimes. And you can see examples there of what this one covers. But like IBIS, except for markets, trying to zoom back out after I have zoomed in so far, it does provide a combination of both text and infographics, charts, graphs, even maps sometimes too. So it is, sorry, it's slowly responding to my request for it to resize. Yeah. So what makes you make decisions about buying coffee as in your own generation? This is obviously what this content does. Sorry, I'm tired of my page jumping around. I'm going to manually put it back to 100%. On the other hand, if you can't find a best matching report for your topic in Mintel, end this section with just some notes about what's in here, go to the Leap button. Leap is their closed AI. And I have example search. I've saved time. I've already typed it out. It's a simple little prompt, but you can be, kind of concise here because we are doing a closed AI search. We're not doing, a co-pilot search of all sorts of content. So, what are trends in transportation, including public transportation? I don't know where that is. I don't see that report in Mintel True Story, but here we have analysis of public transportation and carpooling and buses and things. And if you click on the source link here, 101, or mouse over it, it tells you there's a Tech on the Move report that they have updated this year that talks about how people are using technology for transportation issues. There's also, yeah, that's the same one. So that's another way to find Mintel content. Go into that link there too. All right, so understanding the consumers, who they are, who the best customers are by different categories, demographics, psychographics, et cetera, their trends, their needs, innovations, and consumer services. That's what Mintel does for you in your study. And finally today, in terms of detail, data. As you know, you need to have Greensboro data for this class. You're looking at a Greensboro situation, not national, not some other place. And I do, by the way, have a Greensboro research guide here for like local data. But I have my greatest hits here on this list under markets because it's market data, including Symphony Analytics and census narrative profiles. So let me do census narrative profiles first. This is easy. So it looks like this. I'm going to pick place because that's where cities are covered. Place means cities, towns, villages, townships, municipalities, basically. There's different legal definitions of them. So that's why we have to say place, because that's inclusive. And obviously pick your state, pick your city. There's so many places, some of these we never heard of before. In any state, including North Carolina. And with that, just a couple clicks, we get a multi-data variable list of topics about Greensboro. This is the most current data we have. Annually collected data called the American Community Survey. I have guides on this if you want to dig deeper, but won't do that right now. And you can see households comes up, nativity, language, mobility, education, commuting is going to come up eventually, employment by industry, there's commuting, income data. This is your profile of your location. And you can click on a link underneath each table, such as commuting, source, DP, data profile 03, and that will give you more options to learn more about commuting habits. This is the full data set interface of the census data. And there's my full data that basically generated that infographic we just saw. Another possibility, though, search. Greensboro, we're the biggest Greensboro in the country, so you don't need to add NC, but you could. Commuting and search. There's actually more detailed data than we've seen so far. And we'll get a list of tables. And we can scroll down. This actually isn't what I expected to get this kind. I think it's focusing on my existing example of the data profile of commuting data, which is lower down. I'm going to look for it. But this is also a good source for that kind of data too. Finally, back on the research guide. Last thing before my final reminder, Symphony Analytics. This is another tool we pay for. It has a combination of demographic data and consumer spending and other kinds of behavioral data, psychographic data too. And for example, let me switch to maps. I have Greensboro because that's what I looked at last time I did this, which was 20 minutes ago. And for example, telemedicine is one of the hits you can get. Make sure I spell it right. I don't always spell it very well. Good. So in Greensboro or beyond, what percentage of persons in a place, in this case, we're looking at block groups, which are 2,000 person neighborhoods. Notice you could do zip codes and tracks and cities too, are using telehealth services. And there we go. So here's evidence of how popular or not this access method is for healthcare. Or, for example, we could do commuting, type in carpooling. That's one of the categories, as you saw. What percentage of persons are carpooling? Click one of these and map that out and see. If I'm tired of purple, I can edit the legend and do various changes to the data, including making it census tract data to see what else is there. And finally, coffee, right? How much money are we spending on coffee? Averages by household by track. Track is 4,000 person neighborhoods. So neighborhoods. There we go. We can see where people are spending more money than other people are on average on coffee. There you go. Any data points can be turned into a map, a table, simple table, big table. You can do so much with this. Back on the research guide here, conclusion coming up. There is a page about psychographic data, which includes videos I have separately on Symphony Analytics, an overview that's 3 minutes long. And by request, some really long reports or videos, sorry, I made about how to do tables and cross extrapolation and other things as well. And finally, note here, citation guide. You're required to cite your sources in this class, APA format. I have 3 different guides. One is this main guide here, which is how to cite databases like IBIS and Mintel. Symphony Analytics, click on the product you want. How do I cite Mintel? If you're citing a report, like the ones we looked at, author's name, the date, the title, market report in brackets, Mintel, and a URL that we use to get into it from the library. There you go. You're done. Copy that and change the details for your context. You're good to go. But also in this guide, I have how to cite AI and how to cite tables inside a report. For example, here's a census table, and here's how you refer to it, figure 1, the title, and then citation after that. So if I can support you with citations and any other aspect of this project, please let me know. Thank you for watching this video. Good luck with this semester. Stay in touch and have a good semester. Bye-bye.